Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just want to talk about my process lately, and 'cause that's what I do on my channel. I'm transparent with you guys, and I just talk about what's going on with me. Um, I just recently watched the Jimi Hendrix documentary, Uncut Edition, and I also am now subscribed to the Aleister Crowley Diaries. He was a magician. In fact, Jimmy Page bought Aleister Crowley's house in real time, like 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, or something. He was a renowned Satanist, and first, let me say why I'm saying this. 7 years ago, I did pot 7 times, smoked it 7 times, and then I did an edible. The eighth time, I did an edible, and that's all the pot I've ever done. It's all the drugs I've ever done. Other than that, all I've done is a few bottles of what do you call it? Champagne and things like that for Christmas parties and New Year's things. I maybe have a couple bottles worth of that in my life, and I've had a pack of cigarettes in my life. But other than that, that's all the drugs and alcohol and things I've ever done in my life. But on the eighth, when I took the edible, which is the eighth thing I did with pot, I got an understanding of Jimi Hendrix's Third Stone from the Sun, the eighth song on his album, Are You Experienced? Eighth? Wait, I'm getting that. No, I'm getting that wrong. The ninth song on Are You Experienced? That's his first album by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's called Third Stone from the Sun, the ninth song, because there's 11 songs on it. I got that confused with the fact that the eighth song in Eat 'Em and Smile by David Lee Roth is Big Trouble, and that's my favorite on that album. Oh, so I got my head, because of doing the edible, the eighth thing I did, I got my head around Third Stone from the Sun by Jimi Hendrix. I could not have done that without that. I know, because now that I know the answer and how I understand that song now, I wouldn't have got that without having that edible. And that edible wouldn't have done its job if I hadn't done the other 7 times I did pot. So, but that's not the whole story. And then I spent the last 7 years beating myself up kind of for doing the pot, because I kind of did it. I felt like I was doing it out of stupidity and a little bit of social pressure, and maybe I should have done it, and because I consider myself a non-drug person. But because I was fighting my own experience, no pun, Jimi Hendrix experience, because I was fighting my own experience, I was fighting part of myself, and that was causing me to, to just not be as sane as I really want to be. When you fight yourself, you're not going to help yourself. When you fight yourself, you just turn on yourself and you start doing neurotic things, not erotic, neurotic. Like not really like oh, I got to check this doorknob. Is it even locked? Just that comes from not accepting part of your experience. But I saw the Jimi Hendrix documentary. It was 3 hours and 3 different parts. It's called Uncut. And it showed, that's I'd never seen that before. It was probably just now available, or not available a long time ago. That doing drugs was an integral part of Jimi Hendrix's spiritual awakening that led to him being Jimi Hendrix. But in '65, or before 1965, he was just a good guitarist that played around and did wild stuff, and played with King Curtis and Little Richard and little back. He was just a side man here and there. But when he did acid, in this case, I didn't do acid, but he did. That's what opened up the gateway for him to be the Jimi Hendrix that became the Jimi Hendrix, perhaps the greatest rock and roll guitar player that ever lived. And when I saw that and saw how his story, I then accepted my drug experience that I had, and now I'm going with the flow, so to speak, in my life. I'm more at peace with myself. I'm not as neurotic. And I'm able to enjoy and use that benefit that those drugs gave me. If you fight something, you're not really getting anything out of it. You're just kind of going against yourself. And that's where Aleister Crowley's thing comes in. My first video I saw in the Aleister Crowley diaries said that what Aleister was saying If you fight the current, you get dashed against the rocks. If you go with the current, you get to flow to the ocean. And that's a metaphor for don't fight your own experience. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to do any more drugs in my life. And I'm not saying that anybody else should do drugs. I'm just saying for me, the limited amount of drugs I did was good, and I accept it, and I go with the flow of it, and take the good of it. It helped me open my mind. I'm not saying I'm Jimi Hendrix, but a similar thing happened when I understood Jimi Hendrix, the third stone from the sun. That wouldn't have happened without that drug. I know that because I know, I understand that song now, and I know that I would not have understood that if I hadn't had those drugs. So rather than fight that and think, oh, I was a bad boy, I'm going with the flow and accepting it, and just enjoy and using it, what I learned from that, and then growing and giving it to people, and enjoying it myself. So I'm not saying do drugs, because I don't do drugs. In fact, I just told you that I beat myself up, like for all those 7 years since. I beat myself up for having done pot 8 times. Smoke, and I just now got over that, and that took me 7 years. I'm not a drug person, but sometimes I'm not a go to the doctor person either. But sometimes you have to go to the doctor if you have to. I don't like hospitals. I don't like doctors, but that doesn't mean I won't go if I need one. Okay, so it's the same idea. You may not like something in principle, but if it's what it took, I don't like having a dad that's a 6'3" Navy SEAL either. But if that's what took me through to get me where I am and who I am, then I accept it. So it's just like that, And so I wasn't even going to share this story, but then I thought, well, what am I saying then? What am I doing? I'm not going to share with you guys. I'm not going to be transparent because of this or that. Well, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to sell out. I'm not here to just fill the status quo. I'm not here to just shut my mouth. I'm here to speak of my experience, and that's what I'm doing. So anyway, anything else going on with me? That was very important that I shared that. I want to share another thing. I had a long walk yesterday. I had to go get some vapes, not marijuana vapes, just vapes at Matrix vape store, which is like all the way around the towns I live in. I mean, if you want to go from where I live to Matrix and back, you basically circle. If I'd have gone any further, I'd have been walking out to the mountains, literally. That walk took me 10 hours. I was walking 10 hours. The only time I wasn't walking was either just sitting in a restaurant, just fast food place for just a little bit here and there, or standing at a street light. I walked straight 10 hours. I don't know. I can walk 3 miles an hour. So that might have been 30 miles I walked yesterday. But rather than brag and say that, let's just say 25, 20, 22 miles. I'll say I walked that much yesterday. And it was cold. It's winter. I had a long sleeve shirt on. And for part of the walk, I had to button it up because I just was too cold. If I wanted to make it home, I needed to be warm, and I had to button my shirt up. And I felt like I wasn't being true to shirtless guy image. And I thought about the way I said when I was 15, the word play went through my mind, and I never stopped playing guitar since then. And I thought, well, what if I just stop saying that? What if I say don't play? I was tempted to just say, well, I'm not being a good shirtless guy. I'm being untrue to my image. And what if I just forget about the whole thing and don't play guitar anymore? How about if I do that? The temptation went through my head when I'm walking like 25 miles yesterday, And then I thought of the story of Buddha. I'm not Buddha, but these are all examples of things we can do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here for us. Buddha's temptation was not with failure, but with irrelevance. See, he succeeded in getting enlightenment, but that wasn't the real test. Or at least it wasn't the last test. The last test, perhaps even the real test, was when Mara came to him. Mara, some demoness, came to him and said, they'll never get you, Buddha. You're not going to help anybody. No one's going to understand you. And Buddha thought about it for a minute, and that was his temptation, was irrelevance, not failure. He said to Mara, after some thought, he said, some will understand. And I went through that yesterday for myself with what I just said about having to button my shirt up because it was like 50 degrees outside, and it's probably less than that, probably 45 degrees outside, and I had to walk 25 miles in the cold. And I've reached plateaus in my technique of music and knowledge of it and skill, and I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but I am me. I do my scales. I do my songs. First, before I say what happened with this thought, I want to. Well, should I say that now or should I wait? What you guys tell me what to do? I'll do an interlude here. I'm really tickled. Now this is like a side note. The last Bet Up Monday I did was yesterday. I did "Beautiful Girls" by Van Halen. I'm so tickled with my own performance that as I've said, the moderator has told me, don't just play time straight like it's a math thing or like it's an AI trying to be perfect or being perfect. Play with the time. Go out of it and then come back. Go behind it and back. And go ahead of it and go back. Just swing it a little bit. And to be honest, when I did Beautiful Girls, I felt that's what I was doing. I was going out of time, but then coming back in time, and then going out of time and coming back in time. And it's not easy to go da-da-da-da-da. It's a hard thing. You have to play Eddie's part. You have to sing David's lyrics. You got to groove and rock it as if you think you're Van Halen. Play the solo, back to the singing, the grooving, and in the song. It's not an easy thing to do. But because I would come out of the time and then back in it, when you think I'm going to fall on my face, I come back in time. It actually swung hard, and I actually like that. I can actually listen to that. I actually listen to my doing Beautiful Girls because it swings because of my tension of, is he going to play on time? Is he not? And I really enjoy that play that I'm learning to do with rhythm. But anyway, back to the main story. Like I said, I was tempted with irrelevance because I'm not even being a good shirtless guy because I'm buttoning up my shirt, and I'm why play anymore? Everybody hates me, nobody loves me. I guess I'll eat some worms and whatever. I don't know. That's an old saying they said in the 70s and 80s. And what if I just take away that command to play? What I really play, and would it matter? I'm just one person. Does it even matter? And then I just thought back to myself or to that whatever was going on in my head, and I said, well, some will understand. Just because I'm having a bad day, walking 25 miles for something that isn't even for me, but yet I did it, in the cold weather, having to button up my shirt and contemplating my resolve to play guitar, I just figured, well, somebody's going to get it. Somebody's going to learn something from me. Somebody's going to get me. And somehow I'm here. I'm still here for a reason. And somehow I'm just going to keep doing me. And there you have it, haters. You put me to the brink, and I came back, and I decided I'm still me. What you got next? Oh well, whatever. And facing that has actually made me stronger. I'm actually it's good to go to the precipice. It's good to go to the edge and see what you're really made of, what your metal really is. Not metal, M-E-T-T-L-E. It's like your gut, your resolve, your heart, your strength. It's good to be tested. What if I'd have folded? What if I'd have said, well, I quit guitar? Well, I would have been a different Jimmie. And yeah, I had to button up. It was 45 degrees out, and I'm walking 25 miles in it. I had to button up. I have to protect my health first. I can't get COVID out there. And just because I'm shirtless guy, I have to be within reason. So I came back. I slept on it. I got a good sleep. I got 8 hours sleep. My battery says the sleep is important for me. So whatever. I don't take that advice all the time. I do what I do, but I got 8 hours sleep last night. So I thought about it, and no, some will understand. There's someone out there, somebody that may never see, or maybe we'll see. Will see, not will see. That's going to get something from me. He's going to get, I get Shirtless Guy, I get Jimmie, and somebody will understand. Just like Buddha said to Mara, it's not failure that's the final test. It's, does anybody care? That's the real thing. And I think that for now at least, and maybe once and for all, for that matter, I passed the test. I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.